Hello. How are you? This is so random and a bit impromptu, but I thought I would just come on and talk to you a little bit about what the Aries energy is, because I was just really, we're still in that new moon phase at the moment. And I just thought I'm just going to come on and just talk about Aries a little bit more. Hello, Debbie, welcome. Hello, Letterbox Crafts. I thought I'd just come on really impromptu because I am really feeling that Aries energy today. And we really we spoke about this on Tuesday. I did a free birth chart masterclass, which you can still get if you would like that. DM me. And you can get access to that because we're still in this new moon phase now. So let's talk a little bit about Aries. So for me, Aries, what I should say first of all, Aries is the first sign of the zodiac, right? So there's 12 zodiac signs in total. So I tend to look off into the middle distance because it helps me formulate a sentence. So that's where I'm just kind of looking. So Aries is the first sign of the zodiac sign, right? There's 12 zodiac signs. Aries is the first, okay? So this whole Aries season, we're basically in the astrological new year right now. We've just had the spring equinox, so literally first day of spring. So it is all about new beginnings right now. So if you're really feeling like there is that spring in your step, this is why. The energy feels really, really different all of a sudden. And just to talk about, when it's dark and it's winter time and it's January and we're being asked to set new moon intentions, or set New Year's intentions, I should say, in January, sometimes that feels a bit hard to do because you're oh, it's cold outside and it's all a bit miserable and we're all deep in winter. And it feels really hard to look ahead for the year and set those resolutions for ourselves. So Aries season can be a great time to do that, and this is why. Okay, so let's break Aries down and just have a little chat about it. So all the zodiac signs are split into one of the elements, so fire, air, earth and water, and each zodiac sign will fall under a different element. Aries is fire. Okay, so fire is all about identity, it's all about passion, intensity, drive, creativity. That is the fire sign. So Aries falls under a fire sign. And then going a little bit more deeper into this, so it's absolutely fine if some of this goes completely over your head and you're she's lost me, because I get it. There is so, astrology is just so vast a subject. And I am only just the tip of the iceberg in terms of what I know. And it's one of those things I don't think you'll never understand it all. But that's okay. I think it's just take what resonates with you and then just like leave the rest, basically. And that was that's how I started to navigate it. So I follow Kirsty Gallagher, who I love. And I remember so vividly, she would always say, just take what kind of stays with you, and resonates, and then just leave the rest, kind of thing. That's all that you're supposed to hear right now. So Aries so the symbol of Aries is the ram, okay, with the horns. And it's very much, so we want to think about ram, kind of the horns. It's very headstrong, right? So Aries is all about I am, all about self. I am. It's every zodiac sign has a planet ruler. A planet rules that zodiac sign, and Aries planet is Mars. And actually, the reason I was kind of called up, I was just I'm just going to chat about it, is because I've got this really cool mug with all of the planets on. And I was just kind of staring at that. I was I'm just going to jump on live and just chat about this. And Mars is all about our capacity to act. It's about how we assert ourselves. It's our passion, that kind of thing. It's our drive. So it really kind of ties nicely into that Aries energy. Each zodiac sign has an opposite as well, right? So we've got Aries over here, which is all about I am, okay? And its opposite sign is actually Libra. And Libra is all about balance, and it's all about coexisting with others. It's all about, they love being in relationships, and it's how they kind of cooperate with others and work in harmony with other people. So it's a real kind of the opposition to Mars, which is all about kind of self and I am. So when I think about Aries, it's very much stepping up to the plate kind of energy. It's you're like an independent, it's about independence. You're an independent warrior. So, and it's very childlike, because it's that first sign of the zodiac. It's very childlike. So think of like that fearlessness, that kind of just wanting their own independence, like when you're like a toddler or like a young child, that kind of thing. They just kind of like, they jump off high ledges, they tell you what they want, they don't care what anybody else thinks. It's very much about self and them. That is just children, isn't it? And Aries is like that. There's a real childlike energy to it. Aries knows what they want, and they've got the motivation and kind of passion to go after it. They've got that drive to go after it. They kind of, I guess sometimes like the lower level kind of is what people would say about like Aries, is I guess that sometimes when you do kind of have that energy, sometimes it can, if you have too much like Aries energy going on, you can start to be a little bit rash or maybe impulsive with things, or be a bit impatient. That if you've got all of this drive and motivation, you want to go, sometimes like you can get super like impatient about stuff. So this, I just thought, I'll throw that in there. But so if you are an Aries sun, moon, rising, so these are your big three. So we're not just our sun signs, we also have a moon sign and a rising sign. When I found that out, I was like, because I just thought, I am a Leo sun, and I always just thought that was just my star sign. I'd read horoscopes and I'd think, yeah, that's a bit of me. But it never really kind of hit home, and it was always just a little bit vague. But then I had this birth chart reading done 2 years ago now, almost 2 years ago, with this amazing angel of a woman called Candice, ninth house astrology, who then went on to actually teach me astrology. And yeah, she told me what my big three were. So my sun, moon and rising. She told me that I was a Scorpio moon, hence my name, Scorpio moon coach, and what that meant. She told me my rising sign was Cancer. So I'm actually like a mix of like these three zodiac signs and how they work together. And like your sun, moon and rising all mean different things. They're these like layers of us. So our sun sign, or like what we would call our star sign, or like what you would normally read in a horoscope, that's very much our ego. It's our personality. It's how we kind of really go out there and shine. And it's what makes us shine. When we're in our sun sign, that's how we shine in the world. Our rising sign is almost like the mask that we wear to other people. So when we first meet someone for the first time, they're most likely seeing our rising sign. So mine is Cancer. So I think most people would view me as quite a motherly and kind of like protective, like nurturing kind of personality, which there is that side of me as well. But for a long time, I wasn't really actually leaning into my Leo sun, which is more creative and performative. Like, honestly, a year ago, me being on an Instagram live and doing this I would be like, absolutely not. Don't look at me. Whereas now I'm a bit more like, hi. Oh God, the levels of happiness I get because I'm moving more into my sun sign. It's like off the chart. And then we have our moon sign, which is our like internal, I've gone on a massive tangent about this, but I'm just going to go with it. Then we have our moon sign, which is like our internal kind of world. It's our feelings. It's how we want to be nurtured. It's most likely how we nurture as well. So we've got these layers, right? So you can already start to see that just reading a star sign it's not gonna cut the mustard, really. That we are layers and layers, and it's then how these, where our sun, moon and rising sun, where they are placed on our birth chart, right? And your birth chart is this astrological blueprint about you. It's unique, completely unique to you, which is why you need your time of birth when you do a birth chart reading. It's unique to you. Nobody else will have ever had the birth chart that you have right now, and nobody will ever again. So it's completely unique to you, which is, and it is. This is what we were talking about on Tuesday in this free masterclass that I did. It's like all about birth charts and how to start to interpret your own, because your birth chart, because it is so unique to you, it's the most incredible like self-discovery tool that you can just keep coming back to. And what we were actually looking at on Tuesday, was how this Aries new moon what was it illuminating in your birth chart, and we really got into that. So again, if you missed that birth chart, if you missed that masterclass, and you want to watch it again, because we're still like, you'll still 100% get something out of it. We're still in that kind of like Aries vibe. We're in that new moon phase. Send me a DM and I will send you the masterclass. It was a really, really powerful session. Right, anyway, back to Aries. What I was going to say is that, so if you are an Aries sun, moon and rising, you might be nodding along being like, oh yeah, I'm feeling this Aries energy, and that does sound a bit like me. But then you might also be thinking, oh, I don't know if I like the sound of that Aries energy. Actually, that doesn't sound like me at all. Hi, the French doula. And yeah, it doesn't sound like me at all. And I guess what I wanted to kind of come on and say is that I think Aries can make us feel a bit uncomfortable, actually, because it can be really hard to harness this like energy, this like passion and drive and motivation. I think especially as a mum, because we have so many demands on us, so many things to attend to, like life is so busy. And sometimes it feels like there's hardly any time to actually pursue our passions and work out what it is that I want. It's hard to feel like I am like Aries is like very kind of selfish, but I say that in a positive way, as in it's about self. They're very self-aware. And it can feel hard, I think, as mothers to kind of harness that energy, because we are kind of taught and socialized to put everybody else, I think, before us, and to put everybody's needs in front of our own, I think. So feeling like me saying Aries is like an independent warrior, and like that can kind of feel a bit near on impossible if you've got like small people hanging off you 24/7 and you're surviving on 3 hours sleep, like all of that kind of stuff. So that can feel really, really hard. So I just want to like acknowledge that, but also say that we like, I think we really need to, as mums, start to try and embrace this Aries season, right? So this will go on to the 20th of, or just before the 20th of April. Okay, so we've got a whole month of this Aries vibe, right? And Aries is really, really asking us to think and say to ourselves, this is my life. This is my life, okay? And I have the right to seek experiences that I need to have, okay? Aries is asking us to put ourselves first, okay? Put ourselves first. It's asking us to become more self-aware and think about what it is that we want, what we need, and become more more self-aware, more selfish, but in a good way, in a really, really good way. And like I said, but that feels hard. It can feel really hard and uncomfortable, especially as mums, to be selfish, yeah? But Aries is asking us to just face that head on, even if that fear is change, even if that fear is speaking up and asking for what it is that we need. Oh God, the day I realised that I actually had to start asking for what I need was like game-changing moment for me. It's coming up to a year anniversary actually of when I decided that I needed a break, like I needed space on my own. And I spoke to my husband. We are now you separated. So I was just trying to think of the timeline in my head there. We are now amicably separated. But at the time, it felt like the most biggest deal ever to just ask for like 2 nights to myself. Like I couldn't, it just felt like so far away, and like I couldn't possibly, this is just like too much. I took myself off for 2 nights away on my own, and I asked for what I needed. And it was life-changing, because I realised like the world still turns. Everybody still, you know, everybody gets on, they manage, they get on without you. But like I took that space back for me because it was so needed, because I was just giving away all of myself, giving myself away, and not looking after myself, not putting myself first, okay? And Aries is all about putting yourself first, starting to see yourself as a priority, and being fearless in that. Like, it can feel really scary, like I said, to speak up, to say what you need, to start thinking about yourself and putting yourself first. That can feel scary. So, you know, if you haven't done already, this new moon is a great time to carve out that space for yourself, to really think about these things, really start thinking about you and what it is that you want, how you're feeling at the moment. What is there anything that needs to change? What needs to change? Yeah, and really start to like embody that Aries vibe this season. Okay, so be thinking about what are you passionate about? And again, that can feel so bloody hard when you don't give yourself the space to think about that. Like it can be a really confronting question. You're like, oh God, give me a minute. I don't know what I'm passionate about. The other day I realised as well, doing this like little exercise, and I realised it asked me about hobbies, and I was like, God, I don't have any hobbies. I don't really know what I enjoy. Like sometimes questions just throw you, and you're like, oh, I don't know. I haven't given myself the time or space to even think about that. But like, if you're doing a new moon ritual, give yourself space to think about what are you passionate about, what lights you up, where can you be more fearless, where can you just like take a leap of faith and just do something. Like, yeah, where can you take a leap of faith and kind of be more fearless? Like, do you need to sign up for a course? Do you need to change like the job that you're in? Do you need to speak up in a friendship or at work or like in a relationship? Like these kind of things, like where can you be more fearless? And what needs to be said? How can you be more direct? How can you speak up? Like Aries is so good. Debbie's put, I'm 46 and I still don't know what I want to do when I grow up. I know, but sometimes that can feel, I get it. I totally get it. Because sometimes we're so busy and the life has so many distractions that sometimes it's really hard to give yourself, just really quiet in your mind and like give yourself the space to even like just process this and just have a little think and just sit with that. If you don't know yet, that's totally okay. But it's like, I think the first step is actually just gifting yourself some space and some time and just sitting with you. Aries is all about you. And just thinking about that. What is it that I want? And like, it doesn't have to be, when you sit there and like, it can be really a good idea to like write things down as it comes to you. It doesn't need to be perfectly formed sentences. It could just be keywords. It can be like a drawing. It's like whatever kind of comes to you, just like write that down, just investigate it and then come back to it. It doesn't, I think sometimes I can be quite guilty of just being like, someone asks me a question, I'm like, right, I have the space, like I want to write it down and I just want to do it and I want to formulate it all, work it out and then put a bow on it and I'm done. But sometimes we have to kind of keep coming back to this question and kind of digging deep into it and really exploring that. But yeah, over this Aries season, start thinking about these questions, lean towards what it is that is lighting you up and making you feel passionate, and get curious about that. That's what my coach always says to me, like, get curious about that. And yeah, just like look fear in the eye. You know, it can be, it's so scary to get out of our comfort zones, so scary. And it is because it's basically encoded in us. Like, we as humans it's within our DNA really to keep us safe. So to keep us in our comfort zone, because we don't want to step outside of the group, of the norm, because it feels unsafe, right? So it's kind of encoded with us to keep us in these comfort zones. But honestly, when you just dip your toe out of that comfort zone, oh my God, the waves of just like magic and fulfillment and personal power that kind of comes to you when you step out of that comfort zone is ginormous. So lean into this Aries energy, get out of your comfort zone, start putting yourself first, thinking more about, self, who are you, this season, okay? And yeah, please DM me if you want access to the free masterclass that I did on Tuesday. You are more than welcome. Just DM me and I will send that across. And what else? And yeah, at the end of the masterclass on Tuesday, we chatted about some coaching packages that I'm doing. And I think the one that's most relevant to what we're chatting about today is my birth chart coaching package. Because also, I'm going to come back on and I'm going to do more about this, I've decided. It's eclipse season coming up, okay? So eclipse season is in April and May. So the next new moon and full moon will be solar and lunar eclipses. Eclipses they are powerful. There's a powerful energy with eclipses, right? It comes in to shake things up. It comes in to shake things up and to put us back on our soul kind of purpose line. It takes us, it's basically the lunar nodes are basically kind of almost like meeting up. It's a whole, I need a diagram to explain it. And I think I might do I think that might be my next masterclass actually, is about eclipses. But they come along to shake us up and basically put us back on our soul purpose journey. Okay. So that is coming. So with the birth chart coaching, we have a reading together where we dig into your birth chart. Again, think of your birth chart is a blueprint to you. And we like really dig in that. But it's a conversation. It's like me saying, oh, this is what I think. But it's also me saying, what do you think about this? And we work on it together. That in itself is such a gift to yourself, to spend an hour just talking about you, very Aries, talking about you, and really just digging into like all the layers of like your personality and what makes you you is such a wonderful gift to yourself. But then with this coaching package, after the birth chart reading, we then have 2 hour coaching calls where we can continue to use your birth chart. So we'll look at, it's really up to you with how you do it, but we could look to see how these eclipses are going to affect your birth chart. We could dig into different areas of like your personal life, things that are going up, or like your business, and really start to use this birth chart as a self-discovery tool alongside the coaching. Like, it is magic. So if you're interested in that, click the link in my bio, because the information is there, or DM me. I'm always here if you want to just DM me, and we can always book a Zoom and have a little cup of tea and a chat, which I'm always here for. So yeah, let me know. But yeah, I sometimes I'm like, oh, I'm just going to pop on for 5 minutes, and then it always turns out longer, because I think you can tell that I am really getting into this Aries season, and I really, really want you to do the same. So tell me if any of this resonated. Give it a share on your stories if you enjoyed it. And have a good rest of your day. And yeah, I think I'm going to keep coming on more and just telling you about all the different zodiac signs, I think, as we go along, because I really enjoyed this. But yeah, thank you for joining me live, and for your shares. And I will see you soon.